All right, well, let's come back home then. Community members have held a memorial service for 21 patrons of the eNyobeni tavern tragedy in East London. For more on this, we now cross to our reporter, Kim Daniels, who's there for us in East London. A very good afternoon to you, Kim. I do understand, a very somber day as, families, loved ones bid farewell, of course, to the young, now deceased loved ones. I mean, talk to us about the mood, but really, I suppose, there's also, an undertone of anger that continues to brew within the community. What can you tell us this afternoon?
Well, as you said, I am standing at the site of the eNyobeni tavern. It is here behind me, and the church just had a memorial service where they prayed and sang, just wish to show their condolences, to share the pain of with the families rather who had lost their young children at this venue here behind me. If I can just move out of the shot, and my colleague Natasha Tulu can just show you that the police are on scene. Earlier today we did see forensics that were here. Apparently they were combing through the place looking for toxins, looking for chemicals, looking at the food, looking at the drinks and even the chemicals that were in the generator, just to make sure, to see what was in these items. And as we know, the autopsies and toxicology report is currently in Cape Town in the Western Cape. We are waiting for those results for the cause of death, and I think these forensic pathologists are looking to match the chemicals and the toxins found here to maybe it's linked to the cause of death of these young people. As you mentioned, Flo, people are sad, people are angry, and not just the family members of these victims, it's community members, it's church members, because this has happened in their backyard. Speaking to some of the neighbors earlier as well, they say it's not an uncommon occurrence for these young people to be in these taverns, to be drinking, but they say they blame it on society and they blame it on the area that they live in, saying that there's nothing for these young people to do, especially now during the holiday times, and drinking is a go-to. It's the only one thing that they can do, that they can enjoy rather, that is here at home. As I said earlier, I spoke to the fact that the liquor board had said that the tavern owner had operated within their legal bounds to sell alcohol. They do have a legal alcohol license, but they did frown upon the fact that they served alcohol to those patrons that were under the age of the legal drinking age.
Yeah, and let's talk about, let's continue talking about the owner. What's happening with the owner or owners of the tavern? I mean, we had heard, of course, that there was some sort of charge of allowing underage youth to come in and certainly drink. So that's one thing, but the situation might get worse for him if indeed those who are searching, as you mentioned, you mentioned the forensics, for example, if they do find some of the patrons, some of the survivors were saying that tear gas was let out in closed rooms. That might be attempted murder charges that we're talking about now. So what are we hearing at this point with regards to that?
Speaking to the SAP spokesperson, the Eastern Cape SAP spokesperson, Brigadier Kinana, earlier today, he had said until those results come out, they won't know what exactly to charge whoever is guilty with. Definitely, there are a lot of people in question at this point in time. As you mentioned, the owner might have been implicated. It is his place, his premises where all of these things happened. It is also, as Brigadier Kinana said, they're exploring all avenues, but no steps can be taken, and the investigation cannot continue until they get those results. The tavern owner, as you said, is implicated, maybe to the extent of him selling alcohol to underage patrons. But what was also interesting yesterday when I spoke to the municipality about the zoning issues, as you can see where I'm standing, this is a residential area. There are houses and homes behind me, and this tavern is zoned as a residence. It's not zoned as a business. So according to the municipality, he had operated illegally. When I spoke to the liquor board, they say this isn't uncommon, as all these kind of taverns are in residential areas, and it is not a requirement, a zoning permit is not a requirement for liquor licenses. That's why they can operate legally with these legal liquor licenses in these areas.
And Kim, are we getting information on the funeral arrangements? We have been hearing throughout the week that there was a plan of, some sort of mass funeral for those young people who tragically died there at eNyobeni.
The talks are underway, and it seems like next week, Wednesday, they will have a mass funeral for these young people who lost their lives in the early hours of Sunday morning. Speaking to Brigadier Kinana earlier this morning, he had said that the funeral will continue whether or not they have the results of the autopsies. He also extended his condolences to the family, said they understand that they're frustrated, that they're angry, that they're anxious, they're looking for these results. But he had pleaded for calm, for patience, because they want to get this right. They're being very meticulous about the situation. They don't want to blame those who aren't to blame. They don't want to point fingers at people who aren't to blame for what's going on. So Kinana said they are taking their time with this. They know it's urgent, but they want to get it right.
All right, Kim, thanks very much to you. Kim Daniels in East London for us, where community members are holding a memorial service for the 21 young people, patrons at eNyobeni Tavern.